One of my favorite types of media is superhero media. I've always loved going to the movie theater or sitting in front of the TV with my friends and family and watching a good superhero movie. For me, it's always so cool to see my favorite superheroes and villains fight on the big screen. But not all superhero projects are released to the public, and the ones that are sometimes go lost. In this video, I'm going to go over some interesting pieces of superhero lost media. Sometimes I forget that superhero comics have been around since the late 1930s. That means we have gotten a lot of goofy superhero media due to out-of-date effects and less strict copyright laws. In 1967, the Filipino parody film Batman Fights Dracula was released and has never been found. As the title states, the film followed Batman as he would have to fight Dracula, who had recently been resurrected by an evil scientist named Dr. Zorba. Batman would eventually track down Dr. Zorba and turn Dracula against him, eventually killing him. This is obviously kind of weird since Batman has a no-kill policy, but I guess that didn't really cross the writers' minds. The film would also feature a character named Reuben, who was based on Robin, Batman's sidekick. We have 2 posters for the film and several stills from the movie, but no footage. We have these images because of a Philippine cinema blog site. Because of this blog, we also get more information about the film, such as the actors and actresses in the film, the production company, the release date, and the director of the film. A Reddit user by the name of AskMeAbout_Sharks made a Reddit post about the film with all the research he had done regarding the film. At the end of the Reddit post, he would say, quote, "I suspect that there are still copies of this film out there somewhere. It is possible that if anyone has it, they might not even know about it." End quote. I agree with his conclusion. Since this film comes from the late 60s, a foreign country, and the characters were probably not used legally, the film was probably not spread very far. The film is probably still in the Philippines and is in some storage locker or some collector has it. But until the film is uncovered, the film will remain lost. Now, let's look at a piece of Spider-Man lost media. In 1974, students at New York University would make the short fan film Spider-Man vs. Kraven the Hunter. The short film would be directed by Bruce Cardozo and would adapt the comic The Amazing Spider-Man number 15. This would be the first appearance of Kraven the Hunter in any sort of live-action media. Though the film was not licensed by Marvel Productions, Bruce stated that in October 1972, he wrote a letter to Stan Lee about the film, and would receive a letter from Stan stating his approval of the film. Bruce would even give Stan Lee and Roy Thomas, Roy being the former editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, a preview of the film, and they would be very impressed with the film and actually encourage them to finish the project. A Spider-Man short film praised by Stan Lee seems like it would have been a hit, but the film was never distributed commercially. Bruce would lose interest in the project as he realized he couldn't distribute the film as he didn't have the rights to the characters. The short film would be screened at many comic conventions, the last screening being at the Comic Book and Science Fiction Convention in Los Angeles in 2005. Bruce would protect the film throughout the years, refusing to send the film to anyone, as he stated in a podcast episode with Dan Poole, creator of the Spider-Man fan film Green Goblin's Last Stand. But Bruce said he would happily screen the film to anyone in his home. Bruce Cardozo would end up passing away in 2015, leaving the location of the film a mystery. We do have photos from the film, and that's about it. Unless someone from Bruce's family finds the film, or someone else who worked on it comes forward with it, the film will sadly remain lost. Before She-Hulk would make her debut on Disney Plus in 2022 in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, she almost made her TV debut in 1995 with her own film. She-Hulk was originally going to be featured in the TV film The Death of the Incredible Hulk, but was eventually scrapped from the film. Then plans began for a She-Hulk TV pilot. Jill Sherman Donner, the producer of the original Incredible Hulk TV show, would act as producer and writer for the She-Hulk pilot, with it being titled Metamorphosis. In the film, it would be revealed that Bruce Banner faked his death and would eventually save Jennifer's life while on vacation. My theory is that Bruce would have saved Jennifer by giving him his blood, turning her into She-Hulk. Production for the pilot went through development hell, and sadly Bill Bixby, the actor who portrayed Bruce Banner, would die in 1993, basically canceling the pilot. There would be one more chance for She-Hulk to make her big screen debut in a B-movie. This time, Bridget Nielsen would portray She-Hulk. But sadly, this one didn't get too far either. With the failure of the Howard the Duck film and no investors interested in the project, it was ultimately cancelled. No materials for the TV pilot were ever released, but we do have a few things from the film. We have a mock-up poster for the film, publicity stills of Bridget Nielsen in character, and the costume. The costume would eventually be sold at an auction for around $1,200. It seems like She-Hulk has always had trouble making her live-action debut, and with reviews for the latest She-Hulk TV show not being that great from the general public, it makes me wonder if they'll ever get She-Hulk right in the future. But I think it would be interesting to see more photos from the film or even the script for it. But for now, it will remain lost. Now let's switch things up and talk about a lost video game. In 1997, a PC game by the name of Spider-Man: The Venom Factor was supposed to be released but never came out. The game was supposed to be a sequel to the game Spider-Man: The Sinister Six. The plot of the game is based on the Spider-Man novel with the same name. The game was developed by Sapphire and was going to be published by Byron Press Multimedia. Gameplay would be similar to the previous game. It would be a point-and-click game and be a choose-your-own-adventure style game. The game would include boss battles and puzzle segments. It is unknown whether or not how closely the game would follow the plot of the novel. In the novel, Venom is framed for a murder and Spider-Man must help Venom clear his name. It's important to note that in this story, Venom doesn't kill innocent people. The Hobgoblin would also make an appearance in the story, where he is after radioactive material. We do know the Hobgoblin would be featured in the game, as he makes an appearance in the title screen of the game, one of the only few things we have of this game. The game was supposed to release in the fall of 1997, but was never released, and it is unknown as to why. It is said by Sapphire that the game was completed, as in an archive of the Sapphire website, we can see it listed in its fully developed list of games, but it is unknown whether or not these claims are true. The only other thing we have of this game is a short cutscene from the game shared on the Sapphire website, but that's it. I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man, and I hope one day we get to see this game, but until that day comes, the game will remain lost. The most recent piece of superhero lost media is probably something you have heard about lately, and that is Batgirl. In 2021, it was announced that a Batgirl film would start being filmed with Adil El-Arbi and Bilal Falal directing the film. Filming would end in March of 2022 and was planned for a release on HBO Max. The movie would star Leslie Grace as Batgirl, J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon, Brendan Fraser as Firefly, and Michael Keaton as Batman. Keaton as Batman in this film would have set up his appearance in the Flash film. The film would sadly end up being cancelled and not being released despite the film being almost finished. In an interview with the directors on the YouTube channel Script, the director said that when they heard the film was being cancelled, they tried to log into the Warner Brothers servers to record the film with their phones, but when they logged in, everything was gone. There are a lot of set photos and behind-the-scenes footage of the film, but that's it. I do hope one day that we do get to see this film, as from watching interviews from the cast and crew, it seems like they were extremely passionate about the film. But with Warner Brothers cancelling movies for tax write-offs and locking them in a vault, it seems like we may never see this film. The last piece of superhero lost media I'm going to be talking about is the pilot for the Marvel TV show called Marvel's Most Wanted. After the monumental success of the 2012 Avengers film, the character Phil Coulson, played by Clark Gregg, would star in his own TV show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would also be a big success, and a spin-off series was being planned. The show would be called Marvel's Most Wanted and would have been canon to the MCU. The show would star Adriana Palicki as Bobby Morse and Nick Blood as Lance Hunter. These characters also appeared regularly in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The show would follow Bobby and Lance as they try to evade enemies trying to claim a bounty that's on them. The show was planned to be picked up by ABC in 2016, but ABC would end up passing on the show. The entire pilot was finished, but is yet to be released. When the head of Marvel Television was asked about the pilot being released, he said, quote, "That's an ABC question. We can't release it. It's so good," end quote. So it seems the only way the pilot can be released is if ABC decides to release it, as they hold the rights to it. The only thing we have from the pilot is promotional images of the logo for the show. I do hope that we get to see the pilot one day, but since it was tied to the MCU, it seems like we probably won't see it for a long time. I had a lot of fun researching superhero lost media for this video. It's always super interesting how our favorite superheroes could have been seen in films, TV shows, and video games. There is a lot more lost media related to superheroes, and I would love to make a part 2 to this video in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video, and it would really mean a lot if you left a like on the video and sub to the channel, as it's free to do so. but if not, that's fine too. If there are any lost media topics you want me to go over, feel free to leave a comment and I'll check it out. As always though, I hope you guys have an amazing day. See ya.